Cold Cans Nation, before the show, I have a quick reminder for you. This is very quick. Blink and don't miss it. Blink your ear drums and they'll miss it. You have to listen closely. That's how quick this is going to be. Athletic Brewing Company believes you shouldn't have to sacrifice your ability to be healthy, active, and at your best to enjoy great beer. So they created an innovative lineup of refreshing, non-alcoholic craft beers that you can order online. In this crazy world of 2020, that's a good thing. Keep drinking good beer, stay healthy. Order it online at athleticbrewing.com. You can order merch there too. And if you're a first-time buyer on athleticbrewing.com, you can enter a promo code COLDCANS25. That's COLDCANS25 at checkout. You get 25% off your first order. So do it. I highly encourage it. That's how quick this was. They had to encourage it highly. I couldn't make it a slow burn. Had to be a highly encouraged action for you to take. Go to athleticbrewing.com today, promo code COLDCANS25, and you'll be a very happy boy or girl. If you had attended the graduation ceremony of Little Wolf High School in Manawa, Wisconsin in 1975, you may have heard the name Mitch Patry called. And perhaps in attendance that day was a junior in high school named Randy Glock. And perhaps that same year they would have been tempted by a brand new beer offering called Miller Lite. This was a rebrand after its first inception called Gabbliger's Diet Beer in 1967. However, in 1975, they changed the name and their marketing strategy when they heavily marketed using masculine pro sports players and other so-called macho figures of the day, much like Randy and Mitch continue to be to this day. Miller Lite did this in an effort to sell the key beer-drinking male demographic. And it worked, where the previous light beer iterations had failed. And Miller's early production totals of 12.8 million barrels quickly increased to 24.2 million barrels by 1977 as Miller rose to second place in the American brewing marketplace. Miller Lite was always brewed as a true American Pilsner. It tasted great, it was less filling, and it was the original light beer. And that was no accident. Of course, the world has changed in 2020. The times change, but some things never do. The best times are spent together with our best friends drinking a few beers. Perhaps Mitch and Randy shared the Miller Lites in the early days, and perhaps their offspring, us, Nick and Joey, will share the same exact formula today with the same enjoyment. And that's why Miller Coors started brewing Miller Lite in 1975, why they made it taste great originally, and why they'll never stop. For Miller Coors, for Randy, for Mitch, Nick, and myself, it's Miller time.
What do you think of that? That was a great intro.
Was it?
Uh-huh.
I don't
Truly,
know.
well done. It was fun. It will probably connect in few ways to what we talk about today, but it was worth it. And well done.
Yeah,
a classic
thank you.
Glock intro.
Yeah, I mean, hey, if the podcasting had been around, perhaps Mitch and Randy would have done the same thing we're doing right now.
Yeah, I remember my dad told me he and his friends wrote a screenplay when they were kids.
No way.
I don't know what it was about.
Oh,
I don't know if he
have
remembers.
to get more details about
Dad,
that.
let me know if you remember.
I want to believe it was kind of a slapstick comedy, or would it have been like an action shoot 'em up?
It might have been sports related, honestly. Maybe a Friday Night Lights type.
Oh,
You know?
perhaps
Set in Lindsay Field in Manawa, Wisconsin.
a reference which all of our listeners will pick up on. Yeah, that's fun.
It was
That's
called
cool.
Couldn't Be Prouder. After the popular fight song, We're from Manawa, couldn't be prouder. Can't hear us now? We'll yell a little louder.
And then you say a little bit louder.
Yes.
That we are
And
from Manawa
yes.
and couldn't be prouder. Well, I couldn't be prouder to enjoy another Miller Lite with you, Nick.
Yeah. Cheers. This is
Cheers.
episode 1 redone.
This was the first beer we ever did. We're finally coming back to it for a new Hopportunity. How's the first sips?
Yeah, it tastes like Miller Lite. I still don't really like this one, but we'll see how it goes down. It's a tall boy. I got time to come around on it.
It's a great American Pilsner. You don't like it at first. You have time to come around on it. I the reason that the cold open resonated as we were kind of doing our research, we both were like, this could work, is because we've been talking a lot about how different the world is right now. And it led me to think, well, if we're going to re-examine Miller Lite, it would be interesting to, and I should have had this up from the get-go, it'd be interesting to re-examine what's changed between episode 1 and now. So we ran...
Certainly the sound quality has changed.
Hey, it's because the world's changed. We ran Miller Lite on April 7th, 2017. So it's been just over 3 years of this podcast. This is the early years of the Trump era. America wasn't quite great again yet. We were still on our way there, and God knows we've got there between then and now.
God willing, we'll have 4 more years of it.
I was thinking, we were in isolation. I've been telling you, I've been a bit anxious, a bit down. And the thing that has become evident during isolation is the truth of what I actually valued in my life versus what I thought I valued when times were good. When times were good, I was like, I like this and this. This is who I am. And then, obviously for everyone, the world stopped turning for people. And, both of us have been fortunate where we've maintained our health, and most people around us that we know and care about and love have been able to do the same. But nonetheless, everyone's lives are impacted, myself included. And the things that I miss the most were in that Miller Lite tagline. I was reading Miller Lite copy of like,
great copy.
I like sitting around. What I miss the most is sitting around, like making my friends laugh, and having them try and make me laugh, and having beers is one way to kind of do that. And it's heartbreaking to not have that in my life anymore. In fact, that's I would say the thing I miss the most. That we can't do that without some feeling.
You're not a wartime president.
No,
that's why you're for the good times only.
I'm Jimmy Carter.
You're Jimmy Carter, yeah. We don't need you for these 4 years, baby. I think that's a totally fair point to bring up, or I think it's cool that this time has allowed you to focus on the things that do really matter, so that ideally you would prioritize them, when the world does go back to some form of normal.
Yeah.
So with the friends gathering and drinking beers and stuff, do you feel like that has changed a little bit now when we are reopening somewhat? Like in Seattle, for instance, you can go to bars, outdoor patios at 50% capacity or whatever it is. Is that scratching that itch, or is it still the specter of a pandemic behind it all still holding that back?
The specter of the pandemic and the reality of I don't want to put anybody in harm's way, and I don't want to make this thing worse. So part of what I love about going to the bars or even just hanging out at each other's houses in normal world before all of this was how quickly that melted away anxieties, how quickly I don't want to even say it's a distraction, because it's something I value in life. That is life for me, is again doing dumb bits and gags and laughing with my friends. And what that did is I didn't have to worry about the things that didn't matter anymore when I was able to do that. And so now in this world, going forth and doing that that's too selfish and too I'm riddled with guilt.
Right, you can't live that way.
Yeah, and I don't want to say, okay, it's theoretically open, let's all pack into a bar.
Flood it, baby.
Yeah, probably
make some happy hour specials to take advantage of.
Exactly. Let's make everybody uncomfortable that they're serving us, and they're there because they don't want to be unemployed anymore.
Right.
But they're not thrilled that we're in there.
Right.
And so I don't have that itch scratched at all. In fact, it's almost the opposite. It's I would feel awful. I feel like I'm taking advantage of everyone to have my little moment of joy. I guess the reality is I also understand people's inclination to go back and do that, because I think a lot of people value human relationships. Unfortunately, I think maybe most people just don't understand how that's impacting the world at large right now. So no, I don't have that itch scratched in the slightest, because if I exercise it at all and we're out there doing something, I have guilt for days afterward. And I feel like I was being irresponsible.
Yeah, and I think that speaks to, I heard somebody say this, I forget who it was on a podcast, I think. They said, caring about things that don't matter is such a luxury, and we don't have that right now.
Yeah.
So like sports is one thing. It doesn't really matter. Not that, I mean, having a social life and having friends does matter. Like having community does matter. And in some ways this time has revealed that more, or like you've been able to lean on community more, just maybe not in the same ways that we have before.
Yep.
But yeah, things like going to the movie theater, going to bars, having music festivals, whatever it is, like those are a luxury to be able to care about that and like get worked up about like missing it or whatever. That's such a luxury. So it is a lot to ask for us to like shut down our lives and the things that we like used to care about so much. Yeah, I don't know. It's not an easy way to live for sure, but I think the thought is like this collective action we are all taking is for the greater good.
Of course.
But when it's, not always recognized by everyone or enacted by everyone, then it sort of feels like it's all for naught. I feel like that's what stuck with me through all of this with the recent resurgence of the positive tests and
this is being recorded in July 1st.
Yeah.
So as of right now, coronavirus went up in March and April and went down, and now we're kind of in the middle of where we were.
Right. So it just sort of feels like, all of that was for nothing. Like 3 months of being shut down, 3 months of not being able to go out and do much, 3 months of closing the business down, like all of that is sort of was for nothing at this point.
Yeah. So then it feels like, doing your due diligence by staying away and staying away from bars and wearing masks. Almost when you see everyone else not doing it, it just feels like altruism. It doesn't feel like you're actually... Not even altruism. It feels like just an empty gesture. Like, we're doing our part, but what impact are we possibly making? Like, you need everyone to do their part. And so it doesn't mean that absolves us, so fuck it. We should all say screw it and go forth and do what we please. But it's a tough thing to grapple with. To feel like you're doing the right thing, just to take solace in that is really difficult. So while I'll continue to do it, it isn't easy to do.
Yeah. So back on that topic, like what else has sort of made it clear to you that you actually value in life that you maybe had missed out on before?
I mean, number one is just connections with the people that I love and care about. I think two other things. The inability to travel, that was such a part of what I loved about life. Not even travel anywhere exotic, just the ability to go to the mall, like to leave the house, of course.
You a big mall guy?
I think I would have said that I'm not a homebody, but I'm certainly somebody. I'm a big mall guy. No, but I'm certainly somebody that would have said you know what, I really just love being at home, and that's by and large true. But I didn't realize how much energy I got and how much fulfillment I got from being out there in the world.
Yeah.
So that though travel, I guess, is a good way to just kind of be a blanket umbrella there. And if you're listening, any of my colleagues at work, you are obligated by law. We have lawyers lined up. You are obligated by law to turn this podcast off right now. The other thing that's made it clear is how little I want, or how easy it can be for your work, the job that you have, if you're fortunate enough to have one, how easy it can be for them to that just be your whole identity in a time like this. So I do consider myself fortunate for being able to work during this time, and nonetheless don't want to make that just my life, the thing that I think about and care about and obsess over, because I also understand that I'm just a cog in a giant machine.
Sure.
And so that kills me too, because it's one of the very few things that I can still just spend as much time as I want doing. And we've all been stripped of the things that we'd rather spend more time doing, like human connections and travel. How about you?
Well, I think just to touch on that point you just made, I think the throwing yourself into work is, it is a reaction that many people have. I think especially Americans, like when you really hear about the way work is talked about here versus elsewhere in the world, like that is sort of the default, right? Is like when things are stressful or whatever, you just throw yourself into your work. And I mean, that's good for people like the President of the United States or the Pope or something like that. Like, they should want to do that. But
and the President's throwing himself into his work right now.
Traditional presidents, I guess. But yeah, for people like us, and where it's never going to feel like we're never making that big of an impact on the world if we throw ourselves into whatever our work happens to be. So I've never been someone to like fully obsess over something and throw myself into one thing only.
Yeah.
Which is both sort of frustrating to me and I think keeps me balanced though, especially in times like this.
And right now you're getting punished for being a jack of all trades.
Right, because there's not a whole lot to do besides the stay home and work every day.
Right. And I mean, I'm the same way. I'm also like not very good at anything and am okay at a lot of things. Mm-hmm. I mean, as evidence, we're both this way by the quality of this podcast.
By the way, we're recording on the floor of Joey's home office.
Keeping a respectable,
of course,
responsible. We'll post pictures. We will about our setup.
Pictures are taken.
But yeah, I feel the same way. Like I worked really hard for years to craft a balanced life. One that I can, I spend time with the people I care about. I try to do good in ways that are outside of work and my own friend group. And, I try to learn new skills and have new hobbies. And all that's taken away. And basically what you're left with is do work. And that's if you're lucky. And again, you kept a job. That's true.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of people who weren't even left with that.
Yeah.
And that's, those are just two, there's no win there. And so it's, the world does seem to have changed, but I think an optimistic view of it is much like Miller Coors posted on their website. Some things don't. And when we are able to kind of get over this and get through this as a society and we move forward, hopefully like the lessons learned here, what at least I've found, the perspective I've gained as to what I care about, I keep with me. And I don't just go, fuck it, here we are back in the world. And
right.
make the same...
Doing the same shit I've always done.
Right. But honestly, doing the same shit I've always done sounds just lovely right now.
Right. To a certain degree, you had been doing the things that you really enjoy and get energy from. So the fact that it's been taken away. But I think there is something to the idea that you could, when this is all, over or mostly in control, like sort of restructure your life to be more of something that you want it to be.
Yeah.
Or like this stripping away of all of the extraneous things that you could possibly do.
Right. I don't want to take all that baggage back. I want to just take back what I know I lost and what I feel hardest that I lost.
So do you know what you'd want to get rid of besides the work thing is one thing. That is, and that's, something we have all sort of consistently struggled with or like tried to keep at bay and like compartmentalized enough where we get the work done, proud of the work, but it also doesn't define us. Like, is there anything else that comes to mind that you want to get rid of?
I think, ironically, like just time-killing activities, things that like I used to do because whatever, I was bored.
Right.
And
I got 3 minutes to fill.
Right.
On Twitter.
And so, certainly Twitter and things like that, which is something I've tried really hard to get away from during all this. I don't ever want to take back with me. I don't know. That's a really tough one. I wonder if that'll emerge or if I will make the mistake of just kind of taking the good and the bad of the life that I had. It does absolutely feel like a reset for everyone. Mm-hmm. I mean, we were talking about it. You mentioned our studio is shut down right now. Like the future is murky for that. Mm-hmm. Can that be a reset when we reopen? But I think everybody's lives are going to have that when we go back to it. So I guess I don't have as clear a picture as to what I have dropped from from pre-COVID life. Yeah. And I won't want to take with me. And hopefully that just emerges when I'm able to do everything again. Hopefully I use that reset to fill part of my life with the things that I care about and the rest of it with discovery and new ideas and a new perspective. Mm-hmm. In some ways that can be a light to look forward to at the end of the tunnel. It's not a good thing. I'd rather this never happened and hundreds of thousands of people didn't die and get sick.
Yes.
Of course. But you have to try to look through the positive of all this. We can't just think about the horrible impact of this. We've all spent plenty of time thinking about that. At least I hope so. And so that's my positive is to try to use this as a reset, a rebrand, if you will. Much like Miller Lite has gone through for I don't know how to segue back in. They actually did go through a rebrand. That was a valiant
effort, though. This is the original label,
They've gone back to the original label. Nostalgia, a fine Pilsner beer. And they've done this. This was the rebrand, I believe it happened not long before we did the first episode.
Yeah, I
when
think
they
you're
went
right.
back to
I
this
think you're right. It was a
logo.
big deal. They just calling it Lite again.
Mhm.
We got some can copy here. It's been a while since we've done a can copy segment.
Cold Cans can copy.
Cold cans can copy. Okay, we use.
Hold on.
Oh, the banjo handy. Banjo clock.
Ready?
Yep. Inside is a fine Pilsner beer, brewed with the highest quality ingredients. We use choice hops from the Pacific Northwest, as well as noble Saz hops. I don't know if that's how you pronounce Saz, but I'm sure Zach Jabal will correct me. They deliver more taste, aroma, and color with only 96 calories per 12 ounces. That's Cold Cans Can Copy.
Wow. I didn't listen to any of that because it was way too hard to just try to play when I was playing.
But it sounded good. Well done on the banjo.
Should we...
You've been plucking away at that thing in QT?
That's another thing. Been working on the... What I wanted to do is I've been working on a book for 3 years and it sucks and I have to rewrite half of it. And
It doesn't suck.
I had to rewrite a lot of it. I want to rewrite a lot of it. And I thought, quarantine, okay, this is a great time for me to do it. I've been way too emotionally and intellectually drained during quarantine to work on that. However, a music instrument, my brain mapped to that. That felt less like homework and eating vegetables and more like, I'll pluck away at this son of a bitch. And that's been good.
Nice.
So, yeah, a little bit of banjo.
Cool.
Speaking of, Nick,
Let's speak of it.
some breaking news. Breaking brews? Is that what we stole from Doughboys? They have breaking chews there.
Oh, right. Did we say breaking brews previously?
Did I just make that up?
Let's do it.
Well, we had What's on Tap with Jake Tapper.
Tapper.
Can we... So Jake... Well, okay, hold on. What
no,
news
I don't
anchors
wanna
haven't we
do
done?
it.
I thought we had a Rachel Maddow one.
Was it Mad Dog? Rachel Mad Dog? No, that's not a beer.
Now I don't know. If you don't want to do it, we don't have to do it.
We shouldn't do
The
it.
listeners want us
I
to
was trying to
succeed
think
and
of-
riff a name.
Of, what do we have? Cami Rapson was on WBAY News, Green Bay.
So Canny.
Canny Rapson.
Okay.
And
Canny.
Bill Jarts. That should
Jarts.
be pretty easy.
It should
Jarts.
be. Bill Blatz, Schlitz,
Right.
Jarts.
I think Blatz is stuck in my head. Bill Blatz for Bill Jarts.
Blatz and Canny Rapson here with What's on Tap. Okay, the news is you want to replace our intro music for obvious copyright infringement purposes. But more than
Our
that,
lawyers are bleeping this entire portion.
what do you think you'd want? What kind of vibe? Like, one thing that works with the intro music is we have a lot of energy.
Right.
That
I think it's
Sufjan
the
song.
same vibe, just something that would be legal to have on the show.
I think we make our own, baby.
Yeah.
Cold Cans the band. Touring.
Cold Cans Band.
The Cold Cans Band, and we're here to say we're going to wrap this beat in a very fine way. I'm sitting here during COVID time. That's not a time that I love anymore. That's it.
That's the show. Thanks for listening.
Well, so
We could just, we could make some music.
royalty-free music, or we make some.
Right. You could do a slick little banjo.
I think we'll lose every last drop of listenership if we make our own intro music.
It could be fun, though. Maybe a side project for episode 250.
When listeners should know, Nick and I are on different ends of whether we should replace the music. And when Sufjan sues us and we lose everything that we both have, I'll admit I'm wrong. Because I think it might happen.
Well, Cold Cans LLC is a subsidiary of Cloud Studios Podcasting, which is very close to bankruptcy anyway. So, Sufjan, come and get it.
I think... Have we ever even talked about the fact that song? The song is The Man of... Oh, fuck. What is it? The Man of Metropolis Steals Our Hearts?
Steals Our Hearts, yeah.
By Sufjan. That is on his Illinois album.
Illinois.
Come on and Feel the Illinois. Is a great album. I've been getting into him recently.
Yeah.
My friend
That's
Spencer
good
turned me back
quarantine
on.
music, I think.
Yeah, Michigan and Illinois
range of
are my
emotions.
favorite.
And
You
he was
Sufjan
supposed
fan?
to do a... I dabble with Sufjan. I don't know that much of his stuff. But yeah, he's fun. He was great live at that music festival we were at.
Oh,
I know.
Music festivals.
Though I'll never go back to one. I would like the chance to.
Yeah, you're anti-music festival guy.
I was just never that big into it. I think I don't like it enough to go through the hassle.
Yeah, it is certainly a hassle. Especially when you're camping. If it's a couple-day music festival, who coined the term of the type 2 fun? Was that Flunker or you or someone else?
Well, it's certainly that's a like pop culture thing. Is it? But Flunker, I think, introduced it to me.
Okay, Matt, who's on our ones and twos right now?
Matt,
Still,
ones
Matt?
and twos.
No, don't take the mic. He talked about tier 2 fun, which is the type of stuff where you go and do it, and it isn't necessarily a complete blast, and then you look back on it and you feel fulfilled and did a lot of other things. Hiking's kind
and
of
even
like
more
that.
than that, I think in the moment it might even be painful, or might even
Sure.
you're like, God, this sucks.
And I think
And then after the fact, it's like, oh wow, that was a great experience.
music festivals have a mix of type 2 fun and just regular fun for me. Sometimes I'm having a great time, but I agree with you that hassle portion of it does suck in the moment. It's like, oh, these people suck. All of these people, this group, I'm dealing with all of this. Someone's being an asshole. The camping is brutal, driving all the way out there. But I always look back on those memories fondly. I'll remember them for the rest of my life.
For sure. And I won't take that away from that experience. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah, and I there's a picture of you, me, our friend Spencer, and my wife, Devin, and we're like legitimately laughing in it. It's a very rare picture that's happening.
Right, where a real laugh is captured.
And I look back on that. It's one of my favorite memories ever. Like, just there's the music festival we're talking about is called Sasquatch. If the world ever starts turning again and you make your way out to the Pacific Northwest, you have to go to a music venue called The Gorge. Google it. It's just beautiful. And it really, like, those, I don't know, I value those types of things in my life.
Is Sasquatch canceled, by the way?
Yeah, so Sasquatch itself is done, but the
they
Gorge
still do
has
stuff out.
Yeah, you can go to the Dave Matthews Experience for like 3 days,
Heck
where
yeah.
he does the headliner every night.
Yeah, and not to squash.
In the morning.
Boom, 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 boom. I think we found our new theme song.
I don't know how to play it.
Play Ants Marching.
I'll learn Ants Marching.
Cans Marching.
Cans Marching.
Let's do it. Play it. Play the hit. No, yeah, not to...
Real time,
not
I'm going to look up
ignore-
Ants Marching. You keep going.
Okay, not to ignore from your point there, but... so that's the type of experience as well that you're sort of longing for. Because it is uniquely non-pandemic stuff.
Yes.
Like, thousands of people aren't going to gather together like that.
Totally. It's it's painful to know how much I took all that for granted, that we were able to do stuff like that, and how many experiences I took for granted were available to me and I didn't go and pursue. Like how much of my life I chose to not live and to sit and watch Netflix and look at Twitter and
Right.
and pump my pud and all that.
Come on.
I'll edit that out. Colleagues, you were already told to stop listening. But and so then I look back on that both fondly, and I'm happy I did it. Of course, I miss it, and maybe that's another thing I can take with me going forward is like more of that. Devote more of my life toward discovery and exploration, and when I'm in the moment of these things, experiences that I'm doing, if it's painful, stop being such a baby and kind of suck it up and enjoy the moment. And if somebody's being an asshole, and if I'm tired or I'm hungry, go through it because you're going to look back someday. This, in a way, is like looking back and reflecting. It's something you don't do until there's a moment of reflection. Maybe something, some trauma in your life, or maybe just a significant change, or maybe a pandemic. We have that opportunity right now. And at least take advantage of that.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. And for me too, like on that same wave of thinking, that popular phrase.
I wasn't going to say anything. I'm past the saying that.
And now I'll probably forget the point I was going to make. But
you were on that popular wave.
Okay, so here is what I had. So at the music festival, there are a lot of things you can't control, and you do have to kind of like let yourself go with it. Otherwise, you will be miserable, pretty much. And I was never miserable during it. I think I just was like, well, there were a lot of things going on that I was just like, I don't need to pay a bunch of money and spend 4-day weekend doing this. But living during this pandemic, there are also a ton of things we can't control, and
Can or can't?
can't control.
Cannot.
And
Got
it's
it.
a good sort of lesson because I think in that music festival setting, I'm like thinking of like, okay, what could I do to change this so it is better for me?
Yeah.
Because I think to a certain degree, work life and just life in general benefit you when you are like, okay, how could I improve this or how could I change this situation I'm in for the better? But like right now, there's not a whole lot we can do that's proactive. We can, wear a mask or whatever to try to get out of it collectively, but individually, there's not a whole lot we can do. So maybe that's a good lesson because in those moments, the type 2 fun moments or just everyday life, if you are willing to just like go with the flow a little more, go with the dance of it rather than always trying to be like, okay, how can I put my little spin on this to make it slightly better for me
And optimize
which
it.
means right, which means it's optimized, it's something I'm used to more so than it being truly something new. Maybe that's a good lesson to take out of this.
Yeah, it's a great... That resonated with me as you said that. Because also...
That wave, you floating on that wave?
Now I'm riding that wave. Now I'm doing the surfer gesture.
Pharaoh, oh baby.
Yeah, oh baby. I completely agree. And also maybe it's like... Because part of this whole dilemma is... we all want to do exactly what we want to do. What you were describing. Like, we want to control it.
We're
We want it to make
Americans.
us feel we're Americans. And right now, we're all being called to do something we don't want to do, which is put a little mask on our little face, and you gotta breathe into that, and it sucks. It gets too foggy. My glasses fog up. And if you ride the wave, you go, fine. It's fucking a thing I have to do. Number one, everything will be easier. Mm-hmm. Number two, everyone else's lives will be a little bit better.
Right.
It's
I
just
have compassion.
It's a way to find compassion is to just go with things, and this sucks right now.
Yeah, to a certain degree. Yeah.
Right. Unless we're out there actively developing a vaccine or something along those lines, we have to kind of just go with it right now.
Right.
And just go with it doesn't mean selfishly battle for grab every inch you can get to get it where you want to go.
Right.
It means be respectful for everyone. Let's all live through this shit. We're all in this together. Honda told me that. And Hyundai.
Did you buy a car after they said we're all in this together?
I have 125 cars on retainer. For
with
6
those
years,
unbeatable financing offers, how could you
0%
pass?
APR. This summer, you're not getting on any airplanes. There is a fucking, I think it's a Hyundai ad. It's like, this summer, you're not getting on airplanes. You're hitting the road like we used to.
Yeah. I've heard it's the summer of road trips.
It's the summer of road trips. Are there any summer of road trip sales events happening right now?
Oh, I'm sure. We're going to infect every little city along Route 66, baby.
Is it truck month?
No. It might be truck month.
If it's truck month.
Or maybe, I think June was truck month.
I buy a truck every truck month. I don't know where half of them are.
Oh, wow.
But 0% APR?
Hey, you can't beat it.
You're losing money if you don't.
It's true.
That beats inflation in a way, folks. And that's been Financial Corner.
By the way, how's the Miller Lite going down?
I'm finishing the rest of it.
Yeah, I got it down.
You were prescient with your prediction at the beginning. With the first few sips, I'm not blown away.
Sure.
I don't want it. But there is something that builds with Miller Lite.
It's true.
There's enough substance there. Like, some light beers don't build. It's like, yeah, this is okay. And then at the bottom, you're like, yeah, this is still okay. This is better. I think we said that in the fucking first episode.
Did we? Watch your language.
I'm sorry. Julie, I apologize.
We may have, yeah. But yeah, legitimately, this was better and better. And it just, like, so fits the mood of, like, chatting with a buddy, solving the world's problems, sipping Miller Lite.
That is the thing I value in life. Is doing funny get bits and gags and spills, solving the world's problems, having a couple too many Miller Lites,
dropping F-bombs on family-friendly podcasts.
We put the explicit tag on every episode. Have you been putting the explicit tag on every Anchor episode?
Yeah, I have.
You have to put the explicit tag on.
The E. We got the E.
We're an E-tagged podcast
E used to be
production.
for everyone. Now it means explicit. How can I keep it straight? I'm playing Madden 05 on PC, and it says E for everyone, and now E is explicit. That's not for everyone.
I was going to say, this is a unique character. This is stubborn boomer guy
Who also plays video games?
From the Midwest, who understands the video game rating system, how E is for everyone. It takes umbrage with podcasting overriding the letter E to mean explicit.
It's been too long since we've done characters.
Should we do character work?
Maybe in future episodes. We got to wrap this puppy up. No, that's not.
Somebody just came in the door.
No, close the door.
I don't even remember what Brett Carve sounded like. I couldn't even do Brett Carve.
Brett Carve was the olive loaf guy, right?
I don't have it in.
I have no idea what he sounded like.
I don't even
remember recording that episode though. That was a fun. That was like
It was in your
cold,
apartment.
winter night, and we just we're having the Wells banana bread beer or whatever. Eating olive loaf.
We found magic with our character work.
Yes,
Brett Carve and Brody Ovac, two fan favorites. I don't even know if I could give you a Jesse anymore.
Oh,
I don't think I have it in me.
You've lost.
I got Bernie. I consulted Bernie.
Okay. You've had all quarantine to perfect Jesse, who may be launching an independent run for the presidency. Or no, what's he running for? Senator in Minnesota?
I was once a governor, and now I'll be running for Senate. Thank you for having me back on. I've been embargoed from the Cold Cans podcast. This actually came out quite a bit better than I thought it was going to come out.
Sounds
to
good.
be completely frank with you.
Please.
Frank Stallone, good friend of mine. All right.
That was pretty good.
Read Beer Advocate in Palom's voice, please. No. We won't be able to distance ourselves enough to be able to do Palom because I can watch the spittle come out of the mouth of Palom.
Okay, yeah, Miller Lite.
Beer Advocate, Miller Lite.
BA gives this beer 4.17% ABV, 53, or awful.
Yeah, I kind of vaguely remember that. It's an awful beer. I think we described it as it tastes like rinsing out an old bar rag at the end of the night.
Right.
Maybe that was Olympia.
That might have been, yeah, you were saying that, which I think's a bit harsh.
Yeah, I was having a lot of fun.
So the most recent review on Beer Advocate is a 4.37 out of 5.
Oh, wow.
From someone in Illinois. Great beer, in my opinion.
On,
we are talking
Illinois.
about... Come on, Field of Illinois. We are talking about the light beer category, and I consider Miller Lite one of the best light beers out there, in my respectful opinion, from the mass produce companies. And there were no commas there, mind you. Oh, here we go.
Nice
I don't know if
he
this...
was respectful. It's nice to know his opinion was respectful.
Yes. I don't know if this is going to be good or not. I haven't read it. Oh, no. This Zach Patry is not going to like this next bit.
Uh-oh.
History lesson about Miller Lite. It was once called Meister Brau Light, which was a Chicago brand. I happen to live in Chicago. Miller acquired them when they went bankrupt and rebranded the name. Meister Brau invented light beer, technically, but Miller is still using the original recipe to this day. So all the Wisconsin people, you're drinking a Chicago recipe. Just a heads up. Smiley face.
I love that he found a way to attack Wisconsin people.
Oh, there's a bitter border feud between
But why?
Zach Patry and the state of Illinois.
Oh, I know that. But why does Chicago... Shouldn't they be the Milwaukee be the little brother? Why are they attacking?
It is funny.
Should be Milwaukee attacking
Chicago. Yeah, a city of like 10 million people.
Right.
Yeah.
Guess what, Wisconsin? It's a Chicago recipe from 1962.
We don't even know if that's factually accurate for what it's worth. But anyway, yeah. In the Cold Cans rankings, by the way, that was the other page I was pulling up.
Yes.
I went to coldcanspodcast.com/rankings. Miller Lite is 79.
Firmly in the deplorables. So this debuted, if you look up Miller Lite on Wikipedia, you'll find in the awards section of Wikipedia, you'll find that the beer debuted as number 1 on the list of top 100 beers by Cold Cans podcast.
That was back when we had a competent webmaster handling our...
Brian?
When... Rest in power, Brian. But Miller Lite was what? Miller Lite was re-ranked.
Brian is alive.
The Great Power Hour re-ranked.
Didn't Brian come back on the show?
I think he did. Yeah,
he snuck back in.
I don't remember what episode.
We thought that he was murdered, chopped up, and tossed in the toilet by the studio. But
he got on mic.
Back in.
He got on mic.
Yeah, I think it was the end of the 100th episode.
Nice.
Go back and listen. We had a lot of
Glad
fun
we
that
did that.
episode. Sorry, go ahead.
I wasn't saying anything, Joe.
It's in the deplorables, which goes from 71 to, holy shit, 93.
Oh, wow. Do we
And I
need
think,
another tier?
I think at the very least, with that big of a tier, we're going to have to go through and we're going to have to read these out. So at 93, I'm going to read it tape to tip. At 93, we have Olympia. 92, Milwaukee's Best Premium. 91, Bud Light Orange. Then Bud Ice. Facts. New Belgium's next series presents Passion Fruit Kolsch. Molson Canadian, Tsingtao, and Schlitz now. America, Budweiser, Miller 64. Michelob Ultra with Henry Weinhard's Private Reserve Pub Beer, Miller Lite, Schaffenhofer, Hefeweizen Grapefruit Beer, Miller Genuine Draft, Rolling Rock, Bitburger, Pabst Blue Ribbon, Guinness Draft Stout, Bud Light, Lime, and Busch Light.
Wow.
That sucked. I didn't want to do it.
I stand that.
Don't stand it.
Okay. Stand this Baratheon. We stand this Baratheon.
That's pretty good.
That's what they
Did
said.
you steal that?
No. I mean, I'm sure that exists. That's too easy for it not to exist. I always liked status Baratheon for someone who's like into gaining status on airlines and such.
Status Baratheon.
Yeah. That's my username on Capital One.
Gonna say
Status
if
Baratheon.
there was like a Capital One social networking app,
Yeah.
you'd put your username as Status.
I'm a big
Baratheon.
Facebook Pay guy.
What is Facebook Pay?
That they tried to do that? I think it still exists.
Oh yeah, you can make payments. We were making payments under the table to some of our studio employees for a while.
Oh, really?
No, I don't think we were. We. All right, Miller Lite is number 79. This is New Hopportunity. So, do we want to give it a new opportunity?
Wow. I think it has to, because I'm a big recency bias boy. So it is below Miller Genuine Draft, which,
Yeah.
I mean, Miller Genuine Draft is good. I don't think Miller Lite should be ahead of it, but I don't know, maybe it stays where it is. Because some things never change.
Wow. Sometimes the world changes, and some things, hell, they never change. I think it should stay right there. 79.
We've decided we've solved the world's problems. Miller Lite is exactly where it needs to be.
Some things, they just don't change.